Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Sunday do day. Dun do do do.
That's hilarious.
Cool.
That you have to do it really
So
quietly.
weird. Really, really bizarre. Okay, right. I'll get my old thing up again. And let's go for this. Hello! Welcome to Pushing Buttons. This is a video games podcast that talks about all the things to do with video games, everything about them, but it's mainly just salty opinions, to be honest. Might talk about some other stuff like chickpeas, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. My name is Joe, Joe Bellum.
Oh, sorry, mate, I interrupted you.
Yes, it's right. You weren't expecting the surname. That's totally fine.
No, I wasn't. Cut into you. And I'm Mark Liedell, since we're going... I could give you my middle name as well if you think it's necessary.
I think it's only right to be formal at this stage, Mark. We're just getting to know people.
Okay.
And just a quick little thing about us. This episode is actually going to be mainly dealing with an event that's just happened, right, Mark?
It happened for us in the UK yesterday at 9 p.m. and we were very excited, sort of chatting away on WhatsApp as we watched from our different locations.
Yeah,
I'd go giddy. And it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Well done, Sony. But we'll get into all that.
We'll get to that. So that is what this episode is mainly going to be dealing with. Yeah. So I'm Joe. I play a lot of video games, and we'll talk to you more about what kind of video games we play next week. But I am a singer as my profession, but my whole life I've been a gamer, and I play a lot of them.
I'm Mark. I'm also a gamer. Otherwise, this probably wouldn't.
It's kind of obvious. Yeah, I don't know why. I didn't really need to say it, but it's out there now.
But my profession is actually sound engineer, so if this sounds rubbish, it's all my fault and I should quit.
Yeah. So, this is going to be the best sounding podcast in the podcast sphere, and that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. That's bold.
Yeah, it is.
We'll see.
We'll see about that. Anyway, should we get kind of straight into things?
Let's do it.
Now, last night, as you said, it was the PS5 reveal event.
The Future of Gaming show is what they.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
It's
sure.
Again, a bold claim, but there you go.
It is, and. As for a little bit of context, I haven't been a Sony boy for a good few years. My last PlayStation console was actually a PS2. That was the last one I owned. So I've missed out on quite a lot of sort of Sony heritage and their games.
So
how about you, Mark?
What are you playing on at the moment then? What's your squeeze?
So I should say, I'm mainly an Xbox guy and Nintendo Switch, proud Nintendo Switch owner. I've actually been playing, I don't know if I should be embarrassed about this, but I've actually been playing Kingdom Hearts. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3, Mark.
Oh, no, you should be. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 because I played the first two back on the PS2. And I'd heard a lot of stuff about it saying that it's a whole load of trash, but I thought I needed to see that trilogy out. I needed to see what happened to Sora, Mark.
The trilogy's trash, or 3 is trash.
Yeah. Yes. No. Well, it's one of those things where it's widely regarded that all of the dialogue and the story is utter nonsense because I don't know if you followed. I don't know if you followed all of the kind of spin-off games they've had that have ridiculous names like 365 and a quarter days of sleep and all these kind of weird subtitles that they've got. But because this one was just titled Kingdom Hearts 3, I thought that was quite approachable, and I thought I'd pick up the story again. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. It's got more cutscenes than it deserves to have, but it's a lot of fun.
I mean, I did play 2 on PS2 when it came out, and I gave 1 a shot, but was slightly Kingdom Hearts out by the time I gave that a go. So,
it's definitely a threshold.
Yeah, And I'm not a big console gamer at the moment. I am PC gaming, and I am a Switch as well.
You're part of the PC master race, aren't you, Mark? What are you playing at the moment?
What am I playing at the moment? That's a good question. It's a mixture of Dota 2, which is an ongoing obsession, and I hate it. And just here's my advice: don't play that game.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So there you go. There's
How long have you been playing that?
Oh, since 2011. I'm up to 3,000 hours in total on Steam.
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's quite a lot. Don't play it. So there's that. I just completed Guacamelee 2.
Great.
Which is an excellent game. I really enjoyed the first one, and saw the second one on sale and was like, absolutely, that's what I need right now. And within 2 or 3 days or so, smashed it. It's great.
I've seen a lot of good stuff about those 2 games, and I've seen that they're on the Switch, so maybe I should give it a crack.
Yeah, pick them up. They look great. They got a nice sense of humour. The music's excellent. And it's a real lesson on how to do difficulty curve, in my opinion, because it sort of teaches you all the different move sets and you learn different abilities, and then it really ramps up. And there are parts that are genuinely difficult, but not like Celeste levels of mania.
You want to talk about Celeste?
Go on.
That's a game that's close to my heart.
Not played it, but
have you not? Obviously, it's renowned for being horrendously difficult, but it's just a beautiful game. It deals with like mental health and depression, and it's just done really, really well in a really uplifting way. I mean, I did pull quite a lot of hair out playing it. It's not as bad as you kind of what's he called? What's the Meat Boy called? Super Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy. Yeah.
That's on another level. But yeah, Celeste is very tricky. But in terms of kind of just playing it to do through the story, you can actually get away with not being too frustrated. It's when I play a game, I want 100% that bad boy. And Celeste makes that very, very difficult for you. But yeah, I definitely need to give Guacamelee a go, just because I'm looking for new Switch games.
Yeah, do it. They're not going to take up too much of your time as well. They're a nice. What's the word? Digestible length, I'd say.
You've been eating those games, have you?
I've been eating them, yeah. It's unhealthy.
You shouldn't do that.
Aside from that, I'm back on Dark Souls 3 because I'm obsessed.
Oh!
So I've been co-oping that with a good friend of mine.
Great.
I completed Doom 2016 very recently because I hadn't played that.
Yes.
That is excellent fun.
Yes.
A really good core gameplay loop, really fun weapons, a nice amount of gore, and of course, heavy metal music. What's not to love?
That soundtrack is absolutely killer, man. Some real rockin' riffs in there,
It's excellent. I also completed the Halo Reach campaign on PC because all the Halos are slowly trickling onto PC.
Yeah, they dropped 2 recently, right?
They dropped 2 recently. We played a lot of that online because we found that more accessible than the Reach and Halo 1 online, which is aged badly.
Yeah, well, Halo 1 multiplayer was never great.
It's just small rooms. It's just
it really isn't great. 2 is really, because obviously that was the game that was kind of Xbox Live's first, major player on the multiplayer front. So 2 has some great things going for it.
Yeah, some really good 8v8 maps as well. So much enjoyment had. What else? I've not really been playing Animal Crossing. Don't know about you. I sort of binged it for 2 weeks and then sort of put it down.
I've been getting some major Animal Crossing guilt though, because I know all those animals on that island are going to be really upset. Because I took a few months ago, I took about 3 days off it, not playing it, and I went back on the island, and they were sad, and they were saying, "Where have you been? Look what's happening around here. It's turned to shit without you." To be honest,
I always get, I might leave. I'm thinking about going, and then you say, "No, we want you here," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted to be here," and it's like, dude.
Yeah, I know. I will at some point be telling some of the islanders to leave though, because a few of them do not deserve a place. But yeah, so I haven't played Animal Crossing in a long time, and it's one of those games where it's going to be tricky to find a time that I will want to go back to it without wanting to just start a new island. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think the first Animal Crossing I played was on the original DS, and it was a mate of mine sort of pushed me to give it a go. And I remember I've basically done the exact same thing I did back whenever that game came out.
Yeah.
Just binged it for like 2 or 3 weeks and then just dropped it. And never went back.
It's hard because it is such a slow progression, and the gameplay loop is bizarre in that you only really need to dip into it for an hour once a day, and it doesn't really reward you massively for that time you put in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tricky one.
But that's kind of, I think that kind of covers everything I've sort of been playing recently. But in terms of,
you said roughly 5 or 6 games, and I said 1, so it goes to show who's got a bit more time for gaming at the moment, Mark.
Absolutely. Well, freelance, that's how it goes. But in terms of what I play on, my main squeeze is my PC. I've got a Switch as well, and behind me, which is useless because this podcast, is a PlayStation 2 that unfortunately the disc drive has finally given up the goose.
Given up the goose. Yeah. Not the ghost, but the goose.
Yeah, the goose. There's a PlayStation 1 in a drawer somewhere to my side, and I have a PS3 that I haven't turned on in years. I skipped a generation.
Oh wow! Yeah, well, I went through about 5 or 6 PS2s because of disc drive issues. Really? I did not have a good time with that console.
Wow.
Some of them were self-induced problems. You know, the classic celebrating a goal on FIFA and yanking the PS2 off some kind of plinth and it falling. I say plinth. I didn't have a plinth for it. It was just a wardrobe. Getting back to PlayStation, you mentioned that you skipped a generation.
I did.
Like I said, I skipped both the PS3 and PS4, but I have, all through this current generation, owning an Xbox One, been kind of looking over the garden fence and thinking, hey, that grass looks greener because look at those exclusive games that bad boy is getting compared to what this box of nothing has sat underneath my TV.
But hey, it does Netflix.
Hey, you want to connect so you can wave at the TV? It hasn't been a great generation, but Big Daddy Phil Spencer is filling me with hope. He's the captain of the ship. And I like his honesty, and he said we started the generation off wrong. So I've got some hopes about this next Xbox generation, but PlayStation, boy, have they come out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, I mean, should we go one by one through the event, or
I reckon just before we get into it, we get into the kind of brass tacks of it. On the whole, what were your thoughts and feelings? What was your general reaction when it was all done?
When it was all done? Oh,
yeah.
I mean, there's always a similarity in all these reveals, all these events where you ponder, like, how, what have we actually seen there? A lot of it is kind of that classic, here's what is probably a cutscene and not gameplay, followed by a title, and you just think, well, great, what was that? There's a lot of that going on.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a few new releases and, returning franchises that are obviously great to see.
Yeah.
And for the most part, things that we won't see on Xbox. So if there are games you are interested in, you're probably thinking, what do I do right now? Which is a positive thing for Sony, at least. So it's the classic mixture of just like, what have we actually seen here, and seeing the classics come back.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was definitely a lot of people I've seen on Twitter that were disappointed that there were a few games that they had left out. People were always going to be disappointed. What I did like was that they gave a really good platform to some of the more obscure indie studios and kind of put them up alongside all these kind of big AAA games and said, for example, the flipping Stray Cat one. Which we'll get to eventually. That was like sandwiched between some AAA titles, and it's that's really nice to see that in this huge PS5 event, it's not just crammed full of COD and FIFA. They have got and that is kind of becoming more and more of a trend that studios see the worth in these. I mean, are they even indie anymore, these studios? Because a lot of them seem to be owned by Sony, but they're just called indie because of that kind of vibe that they give off.
How much do you think of it is because some of these other titles that perhaps didn't make it into the show aren't ready to show yet. So GTA 6, for example, is definitely not ready, but we know from some leaked expenditure from Rockstar that came out a few weeks ago that it looks like it's I think did they say 2024? Because they're clearly going to be spending a lot of money on advertising and things, which perhaps says, we're putting all the money there. That's when the game will be ready to show and reveal or whatever it was.
I mean, I would much rather that studios did that as opposed to the Bethesda way of showing the logo for the next Elder Scrolls game and a nice landscape and some panpipe music and saying, "Hey, this is the thing.
It's happening. We're still relevant."
Exactly. I'd much rather they just wait a little bit and show us something concrete. But yeah, I thought it was a really well put together presentation. All of the little graphics between all of the games they showed. I could just watch an hour of that, or just those little weird balls. All of that stuff.
Oh yeah, what my friend called it.
I love the little weird balls.
My friend called that the forbidden caviar.
Yeah, that's exact. That stuff that was covering up the PlayStation at the end. Yeah, exactly. I thought the whole look of it and the pacing of it was
well crafted.
It was so well crafted,
and
especially because they came under so much slack recently. I don't know if you saw it, but they did a presentation about purely the tech side of PS5. But I think it was intended for more of a game dev showcase, as opposed to be they were going to show it behind closed doors to kind of game publicity and developers, but everybody saw it, and they had like weird fake people sat in the audience that they'd added in afterwards, and they were trying to make it look like it was a real event, but obviously no one was there because of COVID. And that was just so awkwardly like put together that it was really nice to see that they did this. But I think the thing that they came out the door saying was, we're going to show you some games, and I think that has always gone down as the top priority at E3, wherever it is. Show us the games. So, speaking of the games, should we talk about what was revealed at this event?
So the first thing that they got into was GTA 5.
Rings a bell, that.
A 7-year-old game now or so.
Yeah, and it's been on 3 generations of console. Came out on I had it on the 360.
I had it on PS3 and then got it on PC rather. So, yeah. I mean,
it almost at first felt like they were trolling us. I thought they were going to show that logo and then change the 5 to a 6 in a cool way,
and I would have been up for that. And I'll tell you why I'd be up for that is because the single player campaign for GTA 5 is excellent. I never got into the online. A couple of reasons for that. Never really had a friend group that was playing it.
Yeah.
So that's to be honest with you, that's the main reason. And also the gameplay loops seem to be make your character enter the world, get shot, and that's quite boring. So I didn't play any further. Yeah. But the single player, loved it. So if they were going to do GTA 6 based on those 3 characters again, fine with me. I really enjoyed it. That would have been great. But no. It's GTA 4 again, expanded and enhanced. Whatever that means. The game still looks great today, actually. It's aged well.
I do think, if they are sprucing it up a little bit, this kind of open world game is a great showcase of new tech, and also one of PlayStation 5's kind of main talking points they've been banging on about is this SSD and their loading times. And if you can't, I can't remember what I was listening to a podcast earlier about talking about the reveal, and if you are able to instantaneously switch from one character to another, they had that whole like zoom in and out thing. If they can do that in a less than a second, that is going to be incredible. If they can pull that off and make that a really smooth thing. So I get why they're doing it. I think it was just quite a cheeky way to start off the whole event.
I guess they wanted to. I mean, they said it in the event where they were like, we've always had ties to Rockstar rather, and working with them, and they kind of wanted to make that connection, and because they are also giving 1 million in GTA cash every month
Saw that.
Until the PS5 launches. So they clearly want to kind of be like, the online's still running, the game's still great, still looks great. We want it to be available on the PS5 for people coming fresh to it, I guess. And just show the love for Rockstar. I suppose is the main.
Who's going to say no to some free cash, Mark?
What a shame it's in GTA Online.
It's those virtual monies. I hear you. So that's what they kick the show off with, and
I think we were all underwhelmed by that. But
but then came the next thing. Now, obviously, because I didn't have a PS4, I missed out on playing the Spider-Man game, which I was gutted about because, I have a few friends that played it and said it was absolutely fantastic. And this does excite me hugely, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, something that I saw on my Twitter feed earlier is that they kind of led us to believe, without saying explicitly, but it's kind of what you would take away with it, that this is a sequel to the Spider-Man game. But apparently it is just an expansion onto a remastered version of that original Spider-Man game for the PS4. So they're remastering Spider-Man PS4, and this is an expansion pack, I suppose.
Okay,
it's DLC. So which makes sense just because Spider-Man only came out 2 years ago. So it would be a very quick turnaround to make a full new game. But I don't think they were hugely upfront with that.
Yeah, that's a little bit suspect. And also, for it to be a fresh release on a new console, it's going to have to be a pretty big DLC.
Yes.
To make it feel like you're getting... Because no one that's got a PS4 now, especially if you're not buying a PS5 immediately, not everyone can afford to, they're not going to rush and go, I'll immediately play that again. Slightly better in 4K or whatever.
Well, yeah, I guess people who didn't own the console already, for example, me, if I were to get a PS5, I'd get that in a heartbeat. But this is something that, to bring up the whole console war thing, and like Xbox have already said they're doing this smart delivery thing where if you had the game on Xbox One, you're going to have it on the Series X. You already own it for the next console, which is obviously incredible. But PlayStation aren't doing anything like that as far as we know yet. So I'm guessing if you have a PS4 and you're getting a PS5, I'm assuming you're going to have to buy it again. Or, I don't really know how that's going to work.
Interesting. Well, okay. That's a little interesting nugget. I'm going to dig deep into that one and take a look. But I will never say no to Spider-Man games.
Yeah, in terms of the reveal itself, awesome. I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel character, and also Miles Morales is freaking awesome. And yay for that being the kind of reveal. I think that's great.
Right. So the next thing, we're less excited about it. It's Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a nap if you want to just kind of scoot over the details of this one.
Sure. There aren't really any details, just some, Gran Turismo's backslides and some slides of cars going
they showed some gameplay, but...
Yeah, they did. It looks great. It's going to look more than great.
Do you think it looked like Generation Leap?
It's difficult to say because it's usually in the details, isn't it? If you compared it to the last Gran Turismo or the current Forza 6, is it we're up to?
Yeah. And then, Forza Horizon 4, I think.
Yeah, if you compared it to those, you'd probably go, oh yeah, well the texturing the cars is well better and the lighting's better. But it's one of those things. You are right when you look at it at face value. You just go, it looks like a nicely made racing game.
Yeah.
Sorry if we sound a bit downbeat about it.
It's not a thing.
Bellum definitely doesn't play racing games. There's no interest.
If you can throw weapons at other people driving cars, then I will play it. But if it's just a sim...
Twisted Metal?
If it's Twisted Metal, if it's Mario Kart, if it's Crash Team Racing, all of these games, love it. If you can count Rocket League, probably not. But all of those kind of fun car-based games, I love it. But if it's a sim, I'm sorry... I will play it for maybe a week and then I'm done.
For me, I get an itch to play something that's a little bit more in depth, but I'm not into tuning cars and I don't really fully understand it. It's not my bag.
Yeah.
So the problem with Sims for me is I'm not going to get the best out of the game because I don't know enough about rear diffs and biases. And I'm not going to do that.
There should be an option to just pay a mechanic. You should just be able to cough up some money and say, make my car faster, please. But instead, you've got to go in and tune and twiddle and all this.
So it's not my thing either, but I tend to get a little itch to play a racing game. So I wouldn't be rushing out to get this. It looks fine. It's Gran Turismo, you know what it is.
There's going to be millions of people that are jumping for joy for this, and I'm happy that they are happy.
What was next, Bill?
Up next, we've got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which again. Haven't played any Ratchet and Clank games, having missed the PS3 onwards. I think the first one was on the PS3, Ratchet and Clank. And unless I'm thinking, I might be thinking of Jak and Daxter, maybe Ratchet and Clank.
I think they were PS2, you know. So I was I've played maybe one or two of them. I played one of them on PS2. Can't remember which one. Size matters, maybe. And then I played the one on PS3, which was Tools of Destruction is the one I played.
Yes, that rings a bell.
Now, the thing for Ratchet and Clank, for me, is that we all grew up on Crash, Spyro, Mario.
Yes.
I'll throw Sonic in there, even though it's
Gex 3D.
Gex, Croc,
James Pond,
Banjo.
Banjo, yeah.
So they're kind of all like watermarks of that type of platforming situation.
Yeah.
For me, Ratchet and Clank always felt just good enough.
Okay.
Just fun enough. I was never big on them. They didn't really grab me hugely.
But Mark, there's loads. There's loads of guns. There's so many guns.
There are loads of guns. You got me there.
Yeah.
There are loads of guns.
Thank you.
So in terms of the reveal, it's great to see him back, and I'm sure there'll be loads of people that are really into Ratchet and Clank.
What about that female Ratchet that turns up out of nowhere?
Well, I mean,
that was a twist.
Yeah, I mean, of course, straight up on Twitter was a picture of that, and it just said, "Lewd artists get to work." So yeah,
I hear it. What is it? What is it? Rule 32 or Rule 34?
34.
34. Yeah. Well, exactly. Enough said.
So don't look that up unless you're inclined. Yeah, it looks fine.
It looked good, and I thought there was some great particle effects going on, and it looked
very busy.
Looked fast paced. I thought some of the it was a lot of kind of jumping between dimensions or jumping between realities. Thought it looked really cool, and again, really nice to see some gameplay, which is something that Xbox have been struggling to do. So that was just really good, and it looks. I think if you're into those games, I think you're going to love it. You're going to lap it up. It looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely pick it up on release to give it a shot. I think.
Yeah,
it looks fun.
Okay, what is it next?
Project. How are we pronouncing this? Athia.
I think it's Athia. Yeah,
Athia. I don't know what to make of it because they didn't show an awful lot.
Some werewolf kind of stuff going on. There was a dragon, some flying things. It was a fantasy jamboree.
Exactly. So doesn't seem to be any gameplay here.
No.
Just a woman.
No.
A dog, a dragon, a Dark Souls-ish looking sort of
it had that
ruined
aesthetic,
area.
didn't it? Yeah. And
some running, some jumping.
All things that I like. And I think the aesthetic appealed to me, but it's difficult to come away from those kind of clips thinking, I'm excited for that one. That's got me going. Yeah. Because what on earth was it? What I will say is that what I didn't realise is that it is being written by Gary Whitta, who wrote the Rogue One Star Wars film, and is an excellent writer, and I trust him so that makes me think that it's going to be quite a story plot-based game, which again, you wouldn't have got that from the trailer because there was zero dialogue as far as I know. I haven't watched it since yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it was a tease, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm up for it. And now you've told me who the writer is, I've on the level of excitement, you can consider me one
You're going up a notch?
Step up. I'm going up a notch.
Okay.
One whole notch.
Thank you. I'm glad that you've been notched up. Speaking of notches, this game's got a cat in it. Stray.
Just going to have a think about that segue while you describe what Stray is.
Brilliant. I think I nailed it. So Stray by Annapurna Interactive, great studio, made some excellent indie games. seems to be it's the future. There's lots of people that look like there's robots that act like people. You don't see any humans in the entirety of this trailer, but what you do see in terms of mammalian life forms is a cat. And this cat has a backpack on it and potentially a little screen. And you start off thinking, oh, there's a cat knocking about. What's that all about? And as the trailer goes on, you start to think, wait a second, am I going to be the cat? And then by the end of it, you slowly realise, yep, I'm going to be the cat.
Quite a weird looking cat.
Yeah.
There's something slightly unnatural about his movement. I don't feel they've quite nailed it.
Yeah, cat physics are notoriously hard though, Mark. That's based on no fact.
Oh, I was going to say, is it based on a previous experience?
No. Yeah, funnily enough, I haven't tried to create any cat games myself. But that again, it was a thing, wasn't it? I like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
No idea what... I mean, that's such a bold thing to come out with and show no gameplay and make you think, what the heck am I going to be doing as this cat? It left me with more questions than anything.
Yeah, it's another one of those where you just go, right, yeah, that looked kind of pretty, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably won't play it.
No.
So that's that. Up next, Returnal.
Yes.
Which I remember messaging you saying,
terrible name.
What a terrible title.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was watching the Kind of Funny team do a live watch along with it, and one of the guys instantly said, Returnal. Awesome title. so it's a polarizing one, obviously, but I also agree with you. It's a silly title.
It is a silly title.
Just makes me think of the R&B group from the late 90s, Eternal. So that's one for me.
I thought it looked strangely ugly. The woman in it she kind of falls into that uncanny valley looking thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
Again, it's all sort of that trailer not really telling you what it's about while trying to explain a bit about it, but actually revealing nothing.
Yeah.
So again, it's hard to have any thoughts on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's got a cool concept in that she's reliving her death or events over and over again, something that seems to be quite a popular theme in this showcase, which we'll come on to later. But yeah, and the planet kind of changes when she dies, which I like. I always like environments reacting to the way you play the game. I just like that as a concept. It's made by Housemarque, who are famed for making just top-down arcadey shooter-style games. So this is quite a departure for them in that it looked like a third-person shooter. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say than that, other than she had different coloured eyes, and that's a fun, quirky character trait.
Yeah. Returnal. What's next?
And that's Returnal. Next,
that's what I was going for.
Yeah,
I just didn't put any effort into it at all.
That's fine. Yeah, next we've got the Sackboy. Little Bobby Sackboy, the Sackman. And he's on a big adventure, Mark.
He is indeed. I'd played the original Little Big Planet on PlayStation 3 when it came out, and found myself underwhelmed. I thought the gameplay was a little bit flat, if I'm honest. It was very cute.
Are you one of these creatively inclined people, though, that would go into like a level editor or, a kind of game where you can create your own levels?
Not especially.
Because I think that is kind of where that game flourished, was the creative aspect.
Yes, it definitely was. I would tend to play the levels rather than make them myself. Yeah. And obviously, when you kind of leave it open for everyone to do, you have some levels that are extremely clever and really open up the game, and then just terrible ones that are just nothing really.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I thought the game was it was fine. It was cute.
Yeah.
But if that didn't sell you, you probably weren't going to enjoy it all that much.
It's kind of like a less good Super Mario Maker. Not that I've played Mario Maker, but the levels that people make in that look absolutely insane.
I think we're going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Looking at the trailer, looking at the gameplay, it looks like it's just a lot stronger, to be honest with you. It's a lot more creativity in terms of the layouts. It's a bit more 3D.
Yes.
I just think it looks a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I could be the only one.
Yeah, it looks like because the other one was 2D, wasn't it? It was side-scrolling.
Yeah, it was side-scrolling.
Whereas this looks like a full 3D platformer. He's got his own game, Sackboy. There looked like there was some co-op fun in there.
Full player, yeah.
And it's good to see, because, at the moment, I'd say PlayStation a lot of pretty serious games, and it's good to see some fun, family-orientated games for the youngsters.
Absolutely. Speaking of fun family games for youngsters,
yeah,
Destruction All Stars.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I mean,
now in its credit, I flipping love games that involve intentionally destroying cars. I'm talking about Burnout. I like those kind of games, but this I just can't get on board with all of this games that are trying to live up to their own hype, and by that I mean, like you were saying, just that constant heavy synth music that is trying to get you to drink all the energy drinks and smash your head against the wall.
Yeah, it's that kind of high octane sort of spoken word kind of, we're gonna get by the game, have so much fun, you playing the game, drink your Monster energy drink, we're gonna go mental, and I'm just first of all, the music's not working for me. It's doing my head in, and too many game trailers use it. That's the first thing. The second thing, the aesthetic is really, I find it's obnoxious.
It's kind
all this that in front of the camera, and it's the sort of punky aspect.
Very Sunset Overdrive. I don't know if you're familiar with that game.
I am, rubbish, and I'm just not. And I'm just not into this. I'm not interested in this aesthetic and the way it looks. However, it is driving around an arena. It is pimping out your car. It is smashing into things. So it could be fun.
Yeah. Again, I've got to give a shout out to those particle effects. It's got some nice that's my sticking point with these games. No, it looks it is what it is, isn't it? It'd probably be a bit of fun. The next Rocket League, it probably ain't, but we'll see.
Yeah, or Twisted Metal or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Or even Destruction Derby on PlayStation 1, if anyone.
That.
That's quite a good game.
Never played it, but good one.
Because it's a genuine reaction.
The next one looked great. I really liked it. It hit me in a.
We both said
it hit me in a spot. It hit me in a Breath of the Wild spot, which is a good spot, and it also hit me just in all the right places. I loved the look of it. It looked cute. It looked fun. It looked like it had heart. It was called Kena Bridge of Spirits.
I'm trying to find what games I compared it to. So for me, from a gameplay standpoint, it looked like a cross between Pitman and Overlord, if you remember those.
Yes, you're controlling other avatars, other creatures, aren't you?
Yeah, but it seems to allow you more abilities as a third-person character, protagonist. But with this extra added element of these tribble-looking things.
Yeah.
Don't know from a gameplay standpoint what exactly it's going to be, but graphically and the sort of tone of it, I was really personally sucked into that. I think it looks really cute, really nice, really sort of smooth, colourful, kind of Ori, Will-o'-the-Wisp type of look.
It had almost like Pixar style kind of and visuals.
Yeah,
as well.
You're right.
It's who knows if it's going to be like a constant thing in which you can kind of call a little small army of cute creatures to your aid throughout the whole game, or if it's going to be more like puzzles or mini kind of events throughout the story that you have to deal with these little guys and get them to do stuff, or if it's going to be like, in combat, you at any point you can call on these little fellas to come and help you out. Who knows? But hey, they were cute, and I want to buy a soft toy of them.
I'd have one.
Yeah, I'll send you one in the post. That one gets a thumbs up from me. I haven't been dishing out thumbs up throughout this, but if I had been, this would be a thumbs up.
Agreed. What's next? It's my turn. Is it my turn? It is my turn. So next is Goodbye Volcano High, and the next one is what?
Okay, I see that you've just tried to skip over that entirely. Good effort. But I'm going to stick on it a sec. This seems to be following in the style of a lot of purely story-based indie games. Like you're Gone Home. Mark's left. He's just left. That's fine. Like you're Gone Homes. Like what's the Life? What's it called? The one made by I can't remember what it's called. What's it called?
What are you
Life. No, that's a film.
On Mars.
Stop it. Story game, life. Life. Life is Strange, Mark, you idiot. Life is Strange. All of these sort of purely story-based games, and it's all about teen angst, and it's all about growing as an adult, growing through the teenage years, maybe.
I'm sorry. How are you comparing this weird anime dinosaur dating sim to Life is Strange? What's the link?
Because in Life is Strange, they're at school, and it's a teenager, and she's going up and chatting to people, and she's learning and growing as a person.
Okay.
And that,
but I mean, obviously we can't comment on the gameplay because there was no gameplay.
Who knows what the gameplay is going to be? All I can guess is it's going to be going up to people, talking to them, and that's about it. Or, I don't think it's going to be a turn-based RPG game. I don't think it's going to be a top-down squad tactics-based game. I think it's going to be a talking simulator. Yeah. Talking and walking.
What's next?
I think next one, I think you should talk about this one because you're an Oddworld boy. This is Oddworld Soulstorm featuring the titular character, Big Barry Nose Hands.
I wouldn't say I'm a big Oddworld boy. I know of it, and I did play the first one. My first time seeing the original Abe's Odyssey was at my uncle's place. This was pre us as a family having a PS1. And I remember seeing this little character going across, and at the beginning it says like, "My name is Abe," and I was like amazed by what I was seeing, obviously. So that's like my first memory of the character.
Your uncle sounds like a pretty cool guy.
He is a cool guy. But in terms of actually finally playing it, I didn't. It's not one of the games we owned, so I came to it very late. And essentially, it's a sort of side-scrolling puzzler, save the people, sort kind of. It's a puzzle game, really. 2D platforming puzzling, and Soulstorm is getting a remake, and it's great to see Abe back. And it's presumably in 4K. That's going to be a great thing. I know a lot of people that will really, really dig it. Hey, if I had a PS5, I might look into it.
I think I've always admired the humour and the fun side of it. However, the side-scrolling, platformy aspect of it does not appeal to me, I'm afraid. But I think it looks fun. So, yeah, I've never got into the series, but I have a lot of people around me on a daily basis that love it.
So next up was sort of what my friend described as Spooky Japan.
Yeah.
But it's actually called Ghostwire
Which
Tokyo.
Really, you could use both of them interchangeably. Spooky Japan, Ghostwire Tokyo. They mean the same thing. This started off. Obviously, this game has been in development for a while. I think there's been murmurings about it, and they've shown it off at E3 a few times. I think last year they showed it at E3, and yeah, I love a Japanese horror, and I absolutely love that. And
is it horror though? Is that what it is, or is it action?
Can you not have both? Because horror isn't a style of gameplay, is it? It's just a genre. But it started off, and I was thinking, "Oh, this is a spooker." That I love the tone of this, but I hear what you're saying in that as soon as it becomes quite a high octane action, that kind of suspense and spooky element sort of dies away a little bit. It kind of gets taken over by that kind of thrill ride.
Yeah, and all the fire effects and everything.
And there was a lot of fire.
That's kind of how I felt about it. I mean, I don't know much about it. It looks weird.
Yeah,
that's an appeal. That's an appeal in itself.
The design of the enemies I liked a lot. There was a lot of creepy looking enemies in there.
It was a bit weird when. What did the woman do? She put an umbrella away or something, and then released a Slender Man. That was odd. It was like a schoolgirl. It was like a schoolgirl with no head, and then she knelt on the ground and just went, "Go Slender Man!" And that was like, okay.
You never seen a woman put an umbrella away and release a Slender Man?
No.
Okay.
But hey, so we don't know much about it.
No, I liked that there was obviously a lot of combat, and it was like first-person combat, but no weapons. It's all of the combat seems to be using hand powers from the hands. I don't have any more expertise on that area. It was kind of, I guess, if you want to compare it to other powers from hands, think of Avatar, not the James Cameron series, Avatar as in The Last Airbender.
Oh, I see. Oh, you left me very confused.
Yeah, I can imagine
the suspense.
That looks spoopy and it looked fun, but
it didn't set my balls on fire.
No, I mean, of course we don't want anything to do that, but that's something that obviously you're looking for. Next up, we had Jet the Far Shore. What was that all about?
You're asking me. I don't know.
Trying.
What was it about?
It was stuff, wasn't it?
It was. There's like a lift-off, and it said it was propelled by dreams, and then it says the phrase year zero. So it sounds like something to do with humanity or whatever creatures this is setting off to start again from fresh. That's all I got from it. Genuinely, that's all I got from it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty bang on. I when it came up with the phrase powered by dreams, I genuinely for a moment thought, I don't know if you've seen a PS4 game that came out recently called Dreams, which is made by the people who made Little Big Planet, and it's where you can make your own games within the game. I genuinely thought it was a game that someone had made within the game Dreams because it said powered by dreams. Swiftly realised that wasn't true, but was kind of left just as confused nonetheless. It looks like there's stuff going on in space. There's some rockets flying about.
And the art style's quite strange. The humans look like the humans from the first Ice Age, i.e. really weird.
Yes, yeah. And it's going to be one of those games that they've shown very briefly here, but we probably actually won't see gameplay for it for another 3 years, and that's when it'll be out, and it'll be a totally different game than it was when they announced it.
Or get cancelled.
Well, exactly. But yeah, that was the thing. Can't really say much. There wasn't any gameplay. Next one, there was gameplay of it, and boy, they put a hip hop track over it.
Oh, let's go, get your Monster Energy, drink a drink, and we're gonna bang and hit the thing and do so burn in there.
Yeah, that was it. That was the one.
Again, egregious use of just really high octane, annoying rap music.
Just that decibel counter is really struggling. That decibel counter needs a break. Like the annoying thing is that the gameplay kind of looks cool, and this looks like some basically just like fun. It reminds me of For Honor. Do you remember that game? A Ubisoft game,
Honor, yeah.
That kind of thing where it's just like you're a cool guy with loads of armor on, and you're fighting like not many opponents at the same time, and it's all like weapons focused. But why have they put a modern hip hop track over that? To
appeal to the youth and get you hyped. All it does for me is want to take my headphones off and watch something else.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, it looked more. I would describe it more as a sort of God of War, Darksiders hack and slash.
Oh, okay.
That's what it looked like to me. Who knows? Could just be a bit of a wet biscuit. Godfall is what it's called.
Biscuit.
I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of a legitimate term.
Glad you went with
just
wet.
A bit of a wet.
I'm glad you said wet and not soft.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It came into my head. So I don't know. It could be great.
I mean, that's the main takeaway from a lot of this. It could be great, but we simply don't know. Next up, though,
Joe,
is one at what?
Tell us about Solar Ash.
Mark, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you about it because that's the game that's next up. It's called Solar Ash, and this has got me tickled in all the right spots, and I'm talking about my brain. This is a game that's being made by the people who made Hyper Light Drifter, which is so good. I got it on Xbox One Game Pass not that long ago. It's beautiful. The soundtrack is so nice. It's a very, very good soundtrack. And this looks like it has all of those elements, but instead of being the sort of top-down, you're a small pixel man, this looks like a fully fledged 3D, almost had a bit of a Journey feel to it. I don't remember Journey, the game that won loads of awards on the PS3.
Oh gosh,
it was the game. I think IGN gave it Game of the Year.
I'm afraid I don't.
Very explorative game, very peaceful. But this looks great, and it's got voice acting, which Hyper Light Drifter did not have. So, yep, I am well on board. Love the aesthetic. Inject it straight into my retinas.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few games in the indie space, especially on Nintendo Switch, that have this sort of cel-shaded Breath of the Wild-esque kind of vibe going on, and I'm not against it. I didn't play Hyperlight Drifter, but I'm not a big fan of the pixel aesthetic myself. Okay. It depends on the game. I'm not against it entirely, but when I did look at screenshots for that, I was like,
yeah, I know, I hear you. It was definitely,
it's not for me.
It's definitely been a sort of fad over the last few years, hasn't it? Like downgrading graphics
perhaps a little
because of nostalgia and that.
In terms of from the studio themselves, this is something that I'd be more inclined to check out and would like to see more of. So you could put me on the list of yes, please.
Cool. I've just got my list of yes, please, and added your name to it. Brilliant.
Cheers. Man.
Okay, what we got next?
What we got next is Hitman 3, which I mistakenly thought was a remake of the original trilogy. Hitman 3 being my favourite of the Hitmans.
Yes.
And then you went, no, this is Hitman 3 from the new
There's
reboot.
new ones.
And I went, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is confusing because the kind of reboot they just called Hitman, and there was already a Hitman. But yeah, it's they've been doing this new trilogy, and it was originally published by Square Enix, but it is they since dropped them, and now it's IOI. I can't remember.
Is it 101 or
it's
IOI?
One of the two. Yeah, I think it might be 101. I think that makes more sense. This looked great. I don't know if you've played any of the new Hitman games.
I played and didn't complete and need to go back to Hitman Absolution.
Okay, oh, it's cool.
But it is good. But it is very good. Hitman is one of those franchises where, like, the original three have aged. I still think the third one is the best. However, there's not really a bad Hitman. They're just a very solid game series.
Yes.
So if you're up for more Hitman and you like Hitman, you're going to get more Hitman, and it's probably going to be good. So I don't really have any complaints here. I don't think we really saw gameplay necessarily.
Yeah. It looks like more Hitman, and Hitman is great and fun. So... and there's always hilarious videos going around on YouTube of the ingenious ways that people kill each other, whether that be with a toilet seat or a bag of herbs. Whatever it is, it's a lot of fun.
Next up is one that we were both intrigued by and found humorous in the way it was. Oh no, I've skipped ahead.
I was just going to say because
no, I haven't. No,
you have
ahead.
because you're missing out Astro's Playroom, which I wouldn't blame you for. I wouldn't blame you for skipping past because it looked like a pile of hot trash.
I'd missed that. What was Astro's Playroom?
So it's basically it's an expansion of a thing that I think was. It was called...
it's the little robot.
Yeah, was it on PS3 or PS4, this little robot called Astro, and it came with the console and this kind of play... anyway, it's just a platformer. It didn't look very...
It looked pretty sort of innocuous and annoying.
Yeah.
But we can gloss over that
Yeah, we
one.
can.
Yeah, what I was going to say is this is one that we both found humorous and something that actually... we quite like the look of. It's called Little Devil Inside.
Yes. Looked great. Really like the aesthetic. It had that kind of sort of like a funny gothic. I was trying to think of the film. It reminded me. It reminded me a little bit of. Oh, it's just gone out of my head. What's the name of the film where there's a little girl and then she goes into like a dark world and everyone has buttons for eyes? You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're
You feel like
talking
it should be Tim Burton, but it isn't.
I don't know what you're talking about, I'm afraid. You've lost me. We'll
Begins
circle
with
back
M.
if it pops
Begins
into
with
your head.
M.
Michael Cera.
Right, okay, not any help. So, no, it has a really cool aesthetic and it looked funny, but looked like some really awesome gameplay because it did have that sort of animated, cartoony aesthetic to it, but there were some really intriguing things going on.
Yeah, and in terms of the way it looked, it sort of has fairly well-rendered backgrounds that are fairly realistic, but then the characters themselves are these sort of slightly out of place, cartoony, cel-shaded sort of looking guys, which actually really worked for me aesthetically. It sort of gave it a weird vibe and gave the characters themselves more personality.
Yep. I hear you.
But yeah, there's actual combat going on. There's swords and fishing and running away from things and hunting with rifles and a giant cat.
Yes. Yeah, there was a giant cat.
Giant tall people with horned masks and a griffin of some sort and a yeti of some sort.
Yeah.
So, and a dragon at the end. A big dragon.
No, well, it's always good to finish with a dragon, isn't it?
So, I really like the look of it personally. I think it looks look really fun.
It did, didn't it? No, I really liked it. Enjoyed the look of that one quite a lot.
What came next?
Next up, yes, the NBA 2K21. Yeah. And they've got their sweat graphics down to a T in that game, because that boy looked sweaty, didn't he?
He did. If you like basketball, I reckon you'll like that.
Yep.
So next up was
couldn't have put it better myself.
Was a game by the fellows who made Octodad, who I'm secretly looking up because I forgot.
Coraline.
What they're called.
Sorry, I just remember the name of the film. It's Coraline, the one I was talking about before.
Sorry.
Yeah. Carry on.
The developer Young Horses, who made Octodad, Dadliest Catch. Right. So when this trailer started, I was ready to go do something else and come back until it had finished. Until it flagged up that it was by Octodad, and I thought, all right, Octodad was stupid.
Now I'm listening.
But at least was like fun and had personality. So maybe they're doing something fun here. So there's a bad Australian accent on a otter sea lion type creature.
Yeah.
And the synopsis is essentially you are what you eat. So if you eat a hot dog, your ears turn to hot dogs. If you eat strawberries, your arms slowly become strawberries. It looks incredibly silly.
Which I am on the lookout for a dose of silliness. So that is ticking that box. However, no idea what the game itself will entail in terms of gameplay, but we know that we're in for a wacky ride. But I thought they were gonna, when they said Bug Snacks was the title, I thought that was a joke, and then they'd revealed the actual title of it. But that never came. It's called Bug Snacks with an X.
Yeah,
just to kind of emphasize the wackiness.
I'm trying to remember the. Whoa, it's Bug Snacks. Whoa, it's Bug Snacks.
Was that in the trailer, or is that just you?
No, that was the trailer. Whoa, Bug Snacks.
Okay, you can stop.
Bug Snacks.
Yeah,
I mean, it went on and on.
I've somehow managed to totally erase the Bug Snacks tune out of my memory. Thank God for that. Next up, it's a big one, Mark. It's one that both of us were hugely excited about this, so as we are both Souls boys. We were both obsessed with Dark Souls 1. Was that the noise that came out of you when this was revealed?
Yeah, exactly that noise. Who's going to say it?
You say it. Go on, you say it.
Demon's Souls.
No! Don't you just love a game that makes you cry and destroy everything around you with the shred of hope that you might accomplish something, but that shred is often burnt to tatters?
Not when you get good. I've completed one like 5 times and 3 like 3 times.
I've never even played 3, and boy do I want to.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know.
Please go and play 3. I think it's my favourite.
Really? Well, yeah. So I was, because I've got 1 and 2 on Xbox One, and I've got 1 on my Switch. 3 is yet to be on Game Pass, and it's not on Switch yet. So I'm just hoping for it to be released where I can either get it free on Xbox or pay for it on the Switch. Either one, I doubt it's going to come to Switch though, because the graphics are much better.
It's too recent.
But yeah, I need to play it.
But neither of us have played Demon's Souls. It's one of those ones that would pass us by because it was a lot earlier. So I'm personally really excited to dive into the world of Demon's Souls, fresh, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
In lovely new crisp graphics, they're just going to look
real
dandy and nice.
Put on that swimming cap and goggles, dive into A Dark World of Souls.
I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, it looks incredible. It looks and
it's not just a remaster. This is a full.
It's a full remake, yeah. And if that is a PS5 exclusive, then I'm gonna have some thinking to do.
I would be surprised. It will definitely come to PC.
Bloodborne, though, mate.
Bloodborne. Yeah, excited for that as well because I never played that because I never got a PS4.
Yeah.
So PC gamers, it's coming your way. It's on its way. So excited for that.
Yeah, this is the thing because I'm currently of the mind having been an Xbox loyal boy since the original Xbox, that I would be getting a Series X, but I highly doubt that things like Demon's Souls will be making their way to the Xbox. So I'm looking at this PS5 and thinking, hiya! So it's
Bugsnax.
Don't make that a recurring jingle in our show, please. Bugsnax. Yeah, we're well up for that. Everyone else should be, and if you're not, you're wrong. Next up is a game.
I think you should talk about this one.
Yes. So next up was Deathloop, which is another game that I think was shown last year at E3. And it's made by Arcane Studios, who make the Dishonored games. I think they're owned by, I think they're part of the Bethesda group. And this looks like my cup of tea. I love the aesthetic. I love the trailer vibe that was very much kind of like early James Bond. Concept of the game is you're an assassin, you have to go and kill certain people, but whenever you die, you start the day again, but you have to kill all of the people that you need to assassinate. I think there's 6 people.
So it's Dishonored 3 with time travel.
Yeah, you nailed it. No, man, it looks great. You weren't crazy about the Dishonored games, were you?
No, they weren't bad games. I just never got into them. Like it's not one of those things of I think this game is terrible. It's genuinely just one of those things of I just can't get into this.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I really like stealth games. This looks like it's got that kind of first-person stealth in which you have powers to utilize to be as stealthy as you like. I like all of that stuff. The Dishonored games and this had that sort of Bioshocky element to them in which you have guns, but you also have powers that you can upgrade. All these kind of things I like. Yeah, it looks great, and I'm well up for it. I don't think it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, though, and I highly doubt it. But it was good to see. It was good to see more of it. There were some cool things going on.
I think it looks good. I think it looks good.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, we got 3 games left, Mark. First of which did a lot for me. I absolutely loved it. I think because we were texting each other throughout the whole thing. I called it pretty.
This one.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
I called it pretty early. I got the series right, but obviously not the game itself. So what was this?
It's Resident Evil Village.
It's clever what they did. They did this with the last one, but I can't remember what they called the last one.
Was.
But yeah, title came up, Village. Then in the word Village, the Roman numerals for 8, VIII, flashed up. It's Resident Evil 8. And
Resident Evil 7 was just Resident Evil, but the 7 was the VII in evil.
That's smart.
So they've tried to be clever about it.
Yeah.
And a bit too clever.
Yeah. Seven,
but hey,
7 and 8 have been great because while it's a departure in that it's gone into first person, they have really gone back to the really creepy horror roots, which is great because 5, was a departure. It was much more of an action game, but 5 and 6 were utter garbage, man.
Hey, can I just come in on the defense on 5?
Okay.
If you play it co-op, it plays very similar to 4,
right?
Which is not a bad thing. The thing about 4 that also makes it better than 5 is it's more self-aware. It knows it's arcadey. It knows it's a bit stupid.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of sense that we all know. We all know this is a bit silly.
We're all in on the joke.
5 went serious, kept the same style of gameplay, and added co-op.
Yeah.
So from a gameplay standpoint, I didn't really complain.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun enough, but it was a bit like where are we with this? Where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And then 6, I can take it or leave it. It's not great.
Yeah. No. But anyway, so yeah.
Not played 7 yet.
No, I haven't either, but I've watched a lot of playthroughs of it and it just looks really creepy, and that's what I want from a Resident Evil game. And 8, this looks great as well. And we've got our boy Chris Redfield's back, although he looks like he's put on a few pounds. I might be wrong, but it looks like you're playing as quite an old guy as the titular character. I might be totally wrong, but you keep seeing this old guy in a flat cap.
I thought he was just a side character.
Maybe he was. I don't know. But yeah, Resident Evil, brilliant. Again, will not be a PlayStation exclusive. Will definitely be coming to Xbox and PC. But hey, glad they showed it. Next up was some nonsense.
Yeah, Pragmata. Guy in a spacesuit in the middle of New York. There's a little porcelain girl. And a cat that wasn't real.
Just in case people were wondering, she wasn't physically made out of porcelain. She just had a porcelain aesthetic.
And there's a lot of like weird reality vibes sucking in on itself, and like hologram stuff, and flying into the air. But it's one of those big concept games that, well, trailers where you look at it and it shows you nothing.
Yeah.
And just goes, look at all these ideas and things we've got going on.
It was very Death Stranding, wasn't it? When it started, I was like, oh, it's a Death Stranding re-release for PS5 because it was a guy in like a astronaut outfit, and it looked a lot like the new Kojima logo. Can't remember what it's called.
And they end the trailer on the moon as well.
Yeah.
So goodness knows.
But when it turned out that it's made by Capcom, it made quite a lot of sense because
they like weird stuff.
So
Pragmata, I can't get excited for it. I don't know what it is.
Yep. Agree.
Big one.
Yeah, they finished with one that everyone, a lot of people have been talking about, knowing that it was probably coming. Guerrilla's new sequel to the original Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. Now, neither of us played the original, but it's also just been confirmed that it will be coming to PC, Horizon Zero Dawn.
So I will be playing it.
Yeah, exactly. So you will be the litmus test for that, because I've never played it.
I've heard nothing but good things.
I thought you were just going to say, I've heard nothing, and just leave it there. Yeah.
About Zero Dawn. So if they're just building on the world and extending the story, what could go wrong?
It looks.
So I'm hyped. It looks good.
It looks gorgeous. The gameplay, from what I've seen, is really good fun. From the previous game, that is. It came out in the same year as Breath of the Wild, and it was just a lot of publications and a lot of award ceremonies just pipped Breath of the Wild over it, which I can't blame it for, because I flipping love that game. But the first, Horizon Zero Dawn has been hugely beloved. This was kind of their and one more thing of the event, I guess. Well, before the next thing, and I guess with that and the other big things like the Spider-Man thing and Demon's Souls, Resident Evil, they had some pretty big reveals.
Yeah, a lot to get excited about. A lot of things that I would be interested in playing personally. And beyond, if you're into racing and arcadey stuff, there's a little something for everyone. As you said, they're really opening the floor to more indie games and more family-friendly stuff as well.
Yeah, big time. They ticked a lot of boxes. There really was something for everyone, which I think is just a really smart move, because you can't really criticise them for that. I think there are a few things that I thought would at least get a nod or a mention, those being a God of War sequel. Some people were saying, are they thinking about doing another Uncharted game? But they've just
no Bloodborne, no GTA 6.
No GTA 6. But Naughty Dog have just finished and are releasing Last of Us 2 very shortly. So I would have been surprised if they announced anything new. What else? Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is another one that people were talking about. And just actually something that I thought was quite a gap was just zero JRPGs, zero Final Fantasy, which is bizarre because it's Sony, it's PlayStation, Japanese-made console. I was expecting to see some JRPGs, but it just goes to show how far PlayStation has come in like really trying to, tend for a Western audience. I thought that was quite alarming.
But in terms of JRPGs, though, we're like all the major sort of ones that we know about, at least over here in the West. Ni no Kuni remastered, Ni no Kuni 2. Dragon Quest 9. All of those ones are already out and about. So there's probably nothing for next gen really lined up to show at all.
No, but I mean, there will be Final Fantasy 16 at some point. That is a thing that has to happen. But I'm actually...
But 7 is definitely taking up their time.
Yeah, it definitely is. I am now thinking, though, that Xbox, but just because Final Fantasy has made some new allegiances with Xbox and Square Enix, I'm starting to think that maybe they will show something. Because I'm guessing all of Square Enix aren't just working on Final Fantasy Remake. They've got to be making a new one.
Surely not. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, some cool looking games.
Yeah, and the real end of the show,
the
one
doozy.
more thing, was the forbidden caviar that glowed blue and shimmered.
So right. It's just so right.
Yeah, thanks for that one, Luke. Showing lots of lovely, weird physics and glowy blue caviar balls to eventually reveal the PlayStation 5 itself. What did you make of it?
I just want some of that forbidden caviar on a little blini with some creme fraiche. I thought it looked great. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter making fun of it. And
it instantly gets turned into memes, but as did the Xbox.
Every console ever will get that. But my instant reaction was, heck, I like the look of it. I think it looks great.
I think it looks slick.
Yeah, I think it looks great with the controller next to it. I like the white and black and blue. I like all of that. I like the curves. It kind of reminds me of that PS3 curve when that originally was released.
It was a bit of a monolith, but it was quite nice.
Yeah.
What I like is that they don't shy when they design these consoles. They don't shy away. There's something that you would want as a centerpiece by your television, and they look good. So I do appreciate the amount of design that goes into them. Yeah. Also, I saw a picture of it mounted horizontally on that circular mount. Yeah. So it does go horizontal. Yeah.
I mean, I would have been baffled had they not done that. I still yet to know if the Xbox Series X is going to be able to be horizontal, because the only pictures we've seen
I'm sure it will, but it'll still be massive. Yeah, it'd be a big rectangle.
Yeah, I like the look of it. The thing that I'm really intrigued by and was really happy to see is that they are releasing a digital-only version of it. Yeah. Which I just think is
so sensible.
Really, really smart. I cannot remember the last time I got up to put a disc in my Xbox One, whether that be game, DVD, or music, just because everything is streaming services these days. And that's the way that people are seeing media of all forms. And it just makes so much sense. And if it means I can get a PS5... for a bit cheaper, then why the heck not?
The thing for me is if this thing is able to download from the PlayStation Store previous titles from the PS3 and PS4, having not owned a PS4, I can see myself being extremely tempted by one of these. Yeah. Because I'll be able to go play The Last of Us Remastered, I'll be ready to play the second one, I'll get the Spider-Man game I haven't played, and all the other stuff. I could be really into this. And also the controller, I think, looks great. I really did not like the PS4 controller at all. And obviously that's subjective. I thought the analog sticks were too high and really strange, and the handlebars were oddly knobbly and strange, and I just didn't get it at all. But this one looks like a step in the right direction. I'd like to actually get one in my hands. Yeah, give it a little go.
It looks like a very, in terms of just form factor, it looks like a traditional gamepad, doesn't it?
It's far more ergonomic.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a little wider in the hands by the looks of it.
Got a little bit of chonk to it. A little bit curvy to kind of match the design
and the
aesthetic.
Analog sticks more sensibly short, but you can't really tell. But to me,
would not be able to comment on that. Wouldn't like to comment on that. I think it looks great. It's got that haptic feedback as well, which is all about the vibrations and such. People are always going to make fun of new consoles when they come out, but I'm personally a fan. I do think I've got the picture of the digital edition and the one with the disc drive up in front of me. Yeah. And I think just the one without the disc drive looks better. The disc drive just is weirdly just kind of on one side of it. And I like symmetry, and this does not give me the symmetry I want.
Yeah, it didn't bother me too much, but I see. I know what you're saying. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit sleeker. Doesn't interrupt that sweeping white curve that we like. But yes, it does look a little bit like a Wi-Fi router. We get it. Yes, it looks like some sort of anime cloak.
It does, yeah. The white collar, very, very anime.
So we get it. It's never going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it'd make a really. I personally think it'd make a really great sort of centerpiece that you'd be like, "There's my PlayStation 5."
Yeah. Mark,
doesn't it look sweet?
We've got everything. We've got them in front of us. Can I get some price predictions? We didn't get a price. That was the one thing that everyone was crying out for. They want to know if they're going to be able to afford one of these bad boys. What are your predictions for both the standard and the digital only edition?
So I saw a rumor thing saying that it's going to be eye-wateringly expensive.
Do you think?
The thing about play,
surely not back to the $600 that they did with PS3, and everyone said no.
Well, I think from what I remember at launch, the PlayStation 3 was $500 at launch. I don't remember what the PS4 was. The problem Sony have always had is because they're always pushing new technologies forward. It was Blu-ray with PS3, and all these other things. They're always trying to push the envelope a little bit. It means they're always going to cost more than the competitor. Yeah,
they've got that 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray drive.
So there's that, the new SSD thing, and anything else that I've overlooked. So my prediction. Digital, £600.
Oh.
CD drive, DVD drive model rather, $650, $649.99.
Wait, more than the one with the disc drive? Wait, if you're going to say digital only is more?
No, less.
Oh,
digital, $600.
Oh, sorry, with the drive, $650,
and the CD drive.
Wow, I mean, no one's buying it if it's that much money. I'm telling you now.
I mean, I could be way out. If they say 500, I think I've put the price up based on things I've read.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't read it, I would have said 500 and 550.
Okay,
that's
right.
Or 450 and 500. But because of what I've read, I've bumped it up an entire £100.
What I'm thinking, just because they have absolutely destroyed this generation and they've absolutely owned it. To keep up that momentum, they would be foolish to outprice anyone who wants to buy this. So I'm going to say 400 for the disc drive and 324.99 for the digital only. £324 and 99p.
Right.
Because I maybe I'm just saying that because if it was that much for the digital only, I would buy it. If they do 500, Xbox are going to come out at 350 and they're going to win this generation. That's all I'm saying.
Shall we wrap up?
Yeah, let's wrap up. Mark, actually, before we do wrap up and say our sweet goodbyes, I was, while you were chatting, I was rudely scrolling on Twitter and I found a couple of updates. First of which is that another Sony employee has come out after the thing I read about Spider-Man to correct a previous statement saying that it will in fact not be an expansion. It will be a standalone game, but it is not a sequel. It is just so I don't know if you remember, there was an Uncharted game that came out called Uncharted Lost Legacy, which followed the two female protagonists. I've never played it, so I don't know the names. And that was just a condensed, shorter, 9-hour campaign as opposed to the full Uncharted games. That's what they're saying this is going to be, this Spider-Man Miles Morales. It will be a standalone game. It is not part of a remake or remaster or whatever of the original Spider-Man. It's going to be a standalone thing. So
that's excellent news as far as I'm concerned.
Mixed messages going everywhere. Yeah, and I just think make a game for your new console. Don't remaster a game that has come out for the PS4. Make a fresh new thing that's going to show off your console.
Yeah, Nintendo. Your freaking Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart.
Super Mario Brothers.
And Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, that was a game.
Take that.
Zing,
Yeah.
you got him, bro.
Zing.
So that's
No, that's good. That's good.
It's
it also means Miles gets his own game, which I think is a good
that
thing.
is
that's great.
a very good thing. The second thing that I have just spotted is there has been a listing on the official Xbox website that, because I was talking to you, I thought that they were going to reveal a Star Wars game in the Sony PlayStation 5 one. They did not, and there's a rumored game called Project Maverick that they've been talking about for ages, which is basically going to be like an aerial space combat dogfight kind of game, like the Rogue Squadron series. And there's been a listing, whether it's a mistake or not, on the Xbox website for a game called Star Wars Squadrons. What?
Yeah, sorry, continue.
And yeah, it looks like it's going to be like a aerial space combat game, and it's just gone. They've just put it up.
That is. I want that.
Yeah.
What was the last one? Starfighter Squadrons, something like that.
I don't know.
Starfighter.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, there was a couple of them, X-wing or something.
Oh, all of those
one that was
those
Rogue
old school
Squadron.
PC ones you're talking about.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
There was X-wing. There was TIE Fighter, Rogue Squadron,
TIE Fighter,
Wing Commander.
They were great, and they just stopped making those type of games.
Yeah.
So I'm very much up for that.
Yeah.
None of this Battlefront rubbish that they keep.
Yeah, exactly.
doing.
So it looks like it's going to be a game focused on the aerial combat, the space fighting, all that kind of thing, which I'm, like you, hugely up for. Star Wars Squadrons, and it looks like it's been leaked on the Xbox website. That is kind of everything. We've got a little bit long in the tooth there with what we were talking about, but I think Mark is going to go in and he's going to cut away all of the rubbish.
Take all your parts out.
Yeah, just make it a monologue for you, just missing a lot of content. So yeah, we covered the PlayStation 5 conference. I think it was a good showing for Sony. Well done to them. And we'll see how Xbox kind of claps back at it, I guess.
Looking forward to that.
But this has been the first ever episode of Pushing Buttons. We'll be back for the next episode, and you guys can get to know us a little bit better. Isn't that right?
That is correct. Yeah, it's going to be our top 10 in no particular order. And a couple of honourable mentions, I suppose.
Yeah,
as well,
I've made my list as homework, and I'm already ready for you to pour buckets of scorn over my choices.
No, absolutely not. I actually think there's going to be a few crossovers and common ground, and then one that I absolutely hate that you should remove. But apart from that, I probably
sounds exactly right. What I will say is that in writing the list, it did make me realise that you really do pick the games of your sort of era and generation. I haven't really picked any games that came out before I was born, for instance.
Mine's a right mixture. One thing that governs my list quite a lot is what do I keep going back to, or what do I want to play again?
I hear that. Yeah, that's very similar to me. But a little bit of logistics. We do have an email account that you can get in touch with us, right?
So we really want to get in contact with our audience and make connection with you guys. So we do have an email that you can come and get in contact with us and tell us that we're rubbish or that you like the show. But most importantly, we want to hear what you think about the Sony reveal. Yeah,
hugely. I mean, obviously we want less of the emails that say we're rubbish, but if you feel like you need to do that, then that's your own prerogative. Our email address is pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. Pushingbuttonspod, all one word, no space, no gubbins. That isn't part of the address. At gmail. Can you imagine that? All one word, no spaces, no gubbins at Gmail. So please do get in touch. Let us know what you thought of the PlayStation 5 reveal event. And as you know, we're going to be talking about our top 10 favourite games of all time on our next episode. Let us know what your top 10 is. Give us an email.
And we want to make you part of the show, and at the top of the show, read your emails out and just have a bit of a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got feedback for us, like saying whoever mixed the audio for this podcast needs to reassess their life, then that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun. Yeah. So
and we're going to have a lot of fun
in future times. Hope everyone is well and staying safe out there in this crazy, crazy world. Mark, this has been Pushing Buttons, hasn't it?
It has indeed. You're absolutely right. Let me just check. It has.
Thanks for the confirmation. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.